call of I got to see him rightly. When I do, we will submit, we will bow. And in looking at Jesus correctly, we will see how bad and how broken and how illogical and inconsistent and unreliable that man's ideas are compared to God. Man doesn't have a better option. The world and the secular world without Jesus do not have a better option. So man's ideas are fantastic. But when we as Christians begin to see God's word and man's theory side by side in solving any issue, we've got some foundation to stand on as believers and as people and children of Christ. Step 2, the world has a strategy. Take what is yours, fight to the death, lose, win. You can't be weak. Peace is weakness. Take your enemy's weaknesses and exploit them, or do what we're commanded to do. It's a choice. Simple. And if we can get that choice right, then we go to 3. We know what we need to do. Okay? Really simple plan. I want to keep repeating this because I believe that the model is the same. Dr. Boa put in a great quote in his chapter. I love that Dr. Boa led off with Nehemiah. Nehemiah is I love Nehemiah. And I love this call. And here's why. So many times you have to remember, I came from a really, really ornery background. I am the prodigal. And it was a long way coming. And as I began to understand more and more and more, right? I began to understand that my ways are truly not his ways, and I'm not as smart as I thought I was. It's a great foundation and a great reminder is that when we see the structure overlaid with our day-to-day application, we begin to see where truth emerges. I'll get down to it here. Dr. Boa talked about this notion of problem solving. He said, as a leader, if you want to get ahead, go to your people and say, you got problems, give me some. What kind of weirdness is going on here in that statement? Bring me all your problems, bring me all your concerns. I want them. Most people don't deal with problem solving that way. And I want to give you some examples and approaches to problem solving by meme or comic strip. We'll get back to Nehemiah here in a second. You ready? So here it is. Problem solving via cartoon. Memo number 1, it has come to my attention that every time we solve one problem, we create 2 more. From now on, all problem solving is forbidden. So I want to introduce you to this approach. It's hard. We don't get it right. So we're just going to stop doing it. This one is fun. The ironic thing is I think that cat is on to something very true about problems. The ones we don't care or know about aren't problems. If I were to tell you, can you believe that Lincoln Riley, the old head coach at OU, took our generational quarterback to USC? Are you serious? That becomes a really big, important thing to this guy on the left, but the one on the right, who cares? There's one method. In other words, problems are germane to you and to what you care about, right? Here's a flip back to the cat. Whatever is not an option in this case, when the wife starts cleaning the house and muttering passive aggressively, now we're all in trouble, right? Now this one's a fun one. Just ignore them. Okay. And just hope that it goes away. I'm going to bury my head in the sand, and if I don't think about it, it'll disappear. But this one's a good one. Problem-solving process. So this is one I really like that I see all the time. It's called deflecting the responsibility. Does the darn thing work? No. Did you mess with it? Yes. You're an idiot. Does anyone know? Yes. You poor sap. Can you blame someone else? No. You poor sap. Can you blame someone else? Again, if you can, no problem. So some people just blame others, blame God, right? Maybe people have a problem with you because you're grumpy and you're negative and you spew out bitterness and you act like you're in a bad mood 9 days out of 100. That may be why there's a problem. Who knows? But you've got to own what is in front of you. I tell business students all the time, I tell clients the same thing. You've got to own 100% of the problem, because if you don't, the solution is going to get further down the road. Okay, got to own it. Problem solving. This one's fun. Sometimes you just eliminate the problem with overwhelming force and power. Call it the Al Capone method. You just eliminate the problem. There's nothing on earth that the application of unreasonably large amounts of high explosives can't cure. And now for my favorite. Police threaten Iraqi protesters with dogs. They threaten back with a lion. Yeah, that was a good one. Teddy, a little nugget of wisdom from one of our former presidents of the United States. Some people actually look for problems to consume themselves so they don't have to look at the real issues. They'd rather whine about the problem than do anything about it. Why? Because whining is easy. Again, as reminders, we talked about before, we see the world as we are and not as it is. Right? We act and behave out of ourselves. Problem is, our single approach is not always applicable. It takes direction, it takes discretion, it takes understanding, wisdom, insight. We see the world as our approach. We see the world as we are. We approach problems as we are. Does that make sense? Peter, does that make any sense? Did I just stumble all over that?